Hypercast number 7.
Hypercast 7!
Number
Ooh.
7?
We have never done 7 of anything before.
That is true.
I'm excited.
Lucky number 7.
I don't think we've ever done 3 of anything before.
Probably not. But you are in the studio with Jack Renard.
Neil Lee Griffin.
Josh Moeller.
And Amber Moyer.
Yay!
Once again.
And the corpse of Steve the
Who is somewhat in an iffy mood, so this Hypercast might be really interesting later on.
Depends on what your definition of iffy mood is.
That's right.
Called a bad
Yeah.
mood.
Being now you told them. See, now they're not going to want to listen.
We had to save it for the end, like M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
what a
sorry.
twist!
Yeah, what a twist.
Well, the podcast today, actually, it may not necessarily be good, but it is very busy. It's very full. We have actually lots of stuff to tell you today.
It's kind of like Transformers 2.
I liked it
It's
better.
got a lot going on, but doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be good.
I liked it better when we just lied to everybody and said it's going to be great,
Right?
because then they might be coaxed to listen further.
Right.
Right now, I've turned this off already.
Oh, okay.
You never turned the first one on.
I have listened to one of these.
One? Okay.
Well, Josh, we can trust you. So, Josh, is this going to be a good Hypercast?
Bitch, it might be.
Yeah! So we're going to give you an update on what we've been up to with our latest productions. We're going to move on to an interview with another voice actor, actually. This is the second voice actor we've had on the show for our guest victim. This is The Beard. He's a voice actor. He does a lot of similar stuff to what we do. He does comic dubs. Most of his are centered around Team Fortress 2 comics.
SAXTON HAAALE.
Yeah, SAXTON HAAALE. If anybody's a Team Fortress 2
Mr.
fan.
Australia.
Yes! Should be right, mate. Throw another shimp on the bobby.
With my bare hands.
Yeah! After our interview with The Beard, we'll go back down to our advice column, and it's actually my turn to give advice this week. So
Uh-oh.
it's going to suck.
So turn it off before we get there.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so first of all, you may notice that this is not our regular update schedule. Well, I believe that
And why is that, Jack?
Yes,
Why are
Jack.
we sucking this week?
I don't know. Amber, you want to tell us?
Because Jack's a lazy peon.
Oh, that is not the answer we rehearsed. Oh,
It's cool because she's in a different mood today.
I see.
Yeah,
Bitch, it might be.
that's for damn sure.
Yeah, we are actually we're overdue on an episode of Gunner Craig, episode 4.
A bit.
Yeah, not much. It will get up.
That's what she said.
Bitch, it might. Episode 4 of Gunner Craig will be up. We're just running a little bit behind schedule. What with the holiday and our impromptu entry into some video competitions and such.
Yeah.
We just kind of got behind on our regular production. But following this podcast, we should be good to go. So we did miss a week, but we are getting back into the swing of things, and we're going to keep up with this new uploads every Saturday schedule.
Are we?
Oh, man. Kitty came to play. Like,
She is.
Remember, Jack,
Yeah.
you wanted her to take part.
I did want to take part. It was funny. She was like, "Oh, I'm kind of feeling under the weather today, guys. I'm not sure if I want to do the podcast." Like, come on, it'll be fun.
Right. I guess
So
do it.
you're getting everything you asked for.
Yep.
It is, in fact, a bad mood. So the cat's out of the bag, literally.
So I believe last Hypercast rather, we mentioned that we were redoing Apocrypha,
Ah, the fan favorite.
fan favorite from Metal Gear 2. It's one of the Metal Gear agains. I forget which one.
Ranger 210?
2.
No. Yeah, Ranger 21 No does our productions better than we do. We could ask
Yeah,
him.
that's true.
So Neil, how is Apocrypha coming?
It is coming together quite nicely. Finishing up some of the skit aspects and polishing it up, and it will be up very soon.
Excited.
So keep an eye out, and when it is up, we will post the link to buy it on Reverb Nation.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we do appreciate you guys asking for that. That's pretty awesome.
Yes, it's because you guys asked for it that Neil's working on it.
Yeah, I hate the damn thing. Yeah, so thank you for acknowledging I exist as a musician.
Because no one else does.
That's not true. I acknowledged you before anybody else in this group did.
But you're in a bad mood.
She punched your acknowledgement card.
Yeah, and she ripped it up out of anger.
Now, attentive viewers, i.e. Revenger 21-0, will notice last week, week 4, some week, we had a video pop up out of nowhere on our channel related to the video game Fuse. New 4-person co-op shooter by Insomniac Games and
Yay.
And why did we do that?
Studio. We did that because it was kind of a whim. It was just shooting from the hip, you know.
Don't lie. We needed the money to fund Apocrypha.
We needed the money to fund Metal Gear 4. See, what happened was there's this Fuse video competition where you take a bunch of assets from Fuse and you put together a short little video, and then the fans judge what the best is, and whoever wins gets $5,000. And if we had $5,000, we could actually afford to hire an artist for Metal Gear Solid 4, you know, and actually get a comic out for you guys. So,
Do we have a donate button on our website?
Do we have a website?
Josh makes a good point.
Right.
Yes to both, but both of them are pretty antiquated. I need to go back and totally revamp those. So,
Buy Apocrypha.
yep, by Apocrypha, it funds Metal Gear 4.
Buy shirts, buy
We don't,
Umbrellas.
paraphernalia.
we don't know how to buy
Paraphernalia? Broad spectrum brand hookah and coffee makers.
Right.
Yes.
Partner Amber's bad mood.
She's like our black market dealer. You know, she's got a little trench coat
Sure.
full of hookahs
What
and coffee
you want,
makers.
bitch?
So we did put up a video for that, and it did well-ish.
We got a comment from a board member.
We did get a comment from a board member. It was pretty cool. You mentioned that all of them seemed pretty much like the same deal, but they liked ours specifically because we used original music from Neil. We used a clip from Hell Here. Yeah.
And if
Available on the Scarlet Crow soundtrack.
Ah, yes, and that song is available on The Diary of Scarlet Crow, which is on Amazon right now.
I think that the contest itself was like a little clunkily executed.
I didn't
A
even
little
know
bit.
about
A lot of the links were wishy-washy. Sometimes they would work, and sometimes it would be a 404 not found.
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I didn't even know if I'd voted a couple times. You know,
Right.
I went on there to vote and it was like, did I vote? I don't know. What's wrong with
Right,
this?
and I had people commenting me, "Hey, the link doesn't work."
Yeah. So I choose to believe that we did win. It was just we were robbed by technology.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
I do want to thank everybody who did vote.
Yes.
So we appreciate your support.
Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you.
And speaking of fan support, Hypercast ago, or maybe even the Hypercast before that, it was the Hypercast before that because we had Patrick on the show last time. You may recall that we've been working with a filmmaker who's interested in making an indie comedy called Rexter.
Yoshi!
That's her. Yeah. Yoshi Torres is still working on Rexter. They got the Kickstarter up finally. So there will be a link in the description of this video. Go ahead and check out the Kickstarter. Donate money if you feel moved. Let's see if we can make this happen.
And in the Kickstarter video, there's a dubstep song that I did, which you can buy now on my Reverb Nation page. It's reverbnation.com/griffinweave.
Can we get to that from your webpage?
Yes, you can, Josh. I'm glad you asked.
Thank you guys
It
for
is-
tuning in to the Broad Spectrum Studios infomercial. If you would like to buy now for 3 easy payments.
Hey, I'm not done. The website is neillleegriffin.wix.com/scarecrow.
Hey, if we Google Neil Lee Griffin, isn't that the first hit?
Bitch, it might be.
Also, last Hypercast, we told you that Heim Daisy, or Peachy Fruit, whichever way you want to call her, or GGDG.
GGDG.
Oh, yeah.
She blows through names like Kleenex!
Yeah. We mentioned that she was working on a new comic, and we were going to try to track it down and let you guys know what's up with that. We're not personally working with her anymore, but we do wish her well in her new production, which is a fantasy adventure comic called Cucumber Quest. It's a comic about little bunny kids going on adventures and having fun.
They're having crazy adventures together.
If you'd like to see High Daisy's new comic, Bunny Bun Bun Bun, you can find it. Also in the link in our video description. She just finished funding this through Kickstarter, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. We just had, we have this indie film that's trying to get funded through Kickstarter right now. And GGDG, or Heim Daisy, just finished
Peachy
funding.
Fruit.
Or Peachy Fruit, just finished funding her second Cucumber Quest book through Kickstarter. She managed to raise an immense amount of money, and she's updating it now.
What's your secret?
I don't know.
She has fans.
Fans.
Yeah.
She has fans that like her.
Donate.
Yeah. Her secret is she's talented, That's something we can't bring to the table.
Excuse you.
So, book 1 is already published, like I said. Book 2 just got crowdfunded, so she's working on it right now. If you're not the reading sort, then there is already a dub going up. It's not us, unfortunately. Somebody beat us to the punch. But it is a really well-made dub.
It is really
now?
well made. Yeah.
Yeah, they got a lot of great voice actors in there. They got original score, and it sounds really
It was
good.
Jello Apocalypse.
Jello Apocalypse, that's right.
Yeah, we'll have a link to them too, right?
We will.
Because it was a good dub.
It was, so I recommend you guys check that out. It also, somebody actually made a music album for the thing. They just, inspired by the comic, they just
Really?
made an album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, I mean, this comic is really pretty nifty, and it's generated a lot of fan following as well. So,
That's cool.
I will caution you, it's not like necessarily a comedy.
Yeah,
you know, there's some funny parts.
Some funny parts, but it's not. It's nothing like the
Metal Gear.
dub or Metal Gear comics that she did.
Right. But it's still cool to see her going off and doing her own thing.
Yeah. But the art style is completely different, and it's a lot more colorful.
Oh, that's right. It's actually all full color. So it's really cool to see that.
Yep.
So, I'm Daisy. We, or GTTG now, sorry. We wish you the best of luck with Cucumber Quest, and we recommend everybody go check that out.
Absolutely.
So, speaking of Hi, I'm Daisy working on new projects, Neil's been working on a new project. Why don't you tell us a
I
little bit about
have. I am currently finishing up my new album. It's called Open Your Eyes. God willing, it will be out June 14th.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to that. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of some issues with some of the art. So.
Yeah, there was a bit of a hiccup with how the art was being done and things just sort of fell off the track. But for the most part, everything's back online now, and it will be out, like I said, hopefully June 14th, if not at the latest, sometime in July.
Okay. So,
But definitely before the end of the summer. So it's a more uplifting record than The Diary of Scarlet Crow. A little less narrative. It's more acoustic and ethereal based. Just about clarity in life and just trying to be as clear-minded as you can throughout your daily life. It will be up soon. It will be available on Amazon.com as well. So be sure to check it out.
and it's a shame this isn't a video podcast because you'd be missing Amber's fabulous hat right now.
It puts me in a better mood.
It puts me in a better mood just looking at you.
Wow, is that a third eye?
It might be a third eye.
Uh-oh.
That is a fantastic hat. All right, excellent. So we can look forward to seeing Open Your Eyes, new album from Neil Lee Griffin, midsummer.
Yes. Cue the violin.
Cue the cat playing the violin.
Hello. And we here at Broad Spectrum Studios would like to kindly extend a warm, heartfelt apology to Steve the Fan, Shriek, for things we may have said in the past that weren't quite in the best interest of him.
As Neil said also, the last Hypercast, we love to take things out of context. We love to exaggerate things and just, everything.
It's all in good fun.
We do it in good fun. We don't maliciously, mean anybody any harm. But the last Hypercast, we made a joke about him talking about how his sister sounded sexy, and with the obvious implication there's some incestual thing there. And we wanted to make it very clear that he did not in fact say that. It was just something he said that sounded like it. We took it out of context, made a joke out of it. He has no feelings towards his sister. We just want to make that absolutely clear for everybody. And we apologize if anytime we do, in the course of just laughing and cutting up and having fun, we do take things too far. So, we apologize to Steve the Fan, and
to anybody else who we may offend in the future.
Because we will.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the only apology you're getting, so take this one and run with it.
Right.
Put that in our notes for this Hypercast. This is the apology to all the fans that we'll ever offend.
The apology episode.
And then shred it.
All right, so speaking of Steve the Fan,
Shriek.
we actually are going to be working with him a lot more in the future.
Are we now?
Yeah.
He actually speaks to us?
It's part of the settlement package, he has to.
Nice.
We're fortunate enough to actually have him in the studio today to talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing with
Oh,
it.
Steve, I didn't see you there.
Oh, Steve, my
Wow.
bad. Wow.
How are you?
How long have you been standing out there?
I have no idea. I didn't even know I was here.
How's the wife?
Still don't have one? Well, I was excited because we had Steve in the studio today, but apparently he doesn't know how to talk. So
Steve didn't know he was here.
I could bring a sock puppet and just say it was Steve the Fan, and we could get the same effect right now.
Taco burrito.
That is true.
Well, since this is a project that's been mostly headlined by Josh and Steve the Fan, why don't you guys tell us what we're going to be doing with these little shorts?
Well, I'll be working on making some short videos for entertainment purposes, obviously.
Because nothing we do at Broad Spectrum is entertainment.
Right, we made these videos to torture you assholes.
You sure it's not like a docudrama?
Some of the videos will involve me ingesting some things.
You have to say it like that.
Whoa,
Whoa.
we wanted you guys to know that even though we like
Wow.
our podcast and things maybe for mature audiences, we're not breaking into the porn industry with Steve the Fan here.
Definitely not.
This is the video I got
Yeah.
with the Brazzers logo on the bottom right corner.
Oh, that's awful. Let's not plug them. They're like, oh, that's the name of that.
Brazzers Spectrum Studios.
oh, I can't. No, that was terrible.
Steve the Fan. What are you going to be ingesting?
What do you use the same word?
Steve the Fan is making shorts for us, okay?
Short videos.
Short
videos.
videos. We can't get out of this today.
Wow.
Like,
This is what happens when
Yeah.
I'm in a bad mood.
right. Throws off all our
Okay.
grooves.
We will post a list of a
Solid?
a liquid, and
A
A
gas.
condiment.
a condiment
Okay.
online, and we'll let YouTube choose, and we will choose the top,
The top ingredient from each list.
and then we have to mix those ingredients up in a blender, and Steve the Fan has to drink it all.
From a crystal skull.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty fun. So Steve the Fan is going to do a little short from us recurringly where we make him stick stuff in a blender and then he drinks it.
Yeah.
And I believe we're going to be doing some other little improv things too.
He's also working on some other little skit ideas. He's kind of run some of them by me. And we're going to try to start focusing on that a little bit. It'll be... we don't have a release schedule for that yet. We don't even have a real rigid production schedule for that yet, but we are working on some things, and we'll update you guys as
we see
updates
fit
become
to.
as updates become available.
Right. So early on, we did have a little bit of we kind of dipped our toe in the lake of sketch comedy, and so it looks like we're going to be moving back towards that a little bit, and hopefully getting more often uploads for you. And we're also going to be, in addition to what Steve the Fan's doing, we're going to have a couple of little shorts and skits just from us around the office, especially some stuff with Neil that I think you'll really appreciate. All right, so that is what we've been up to, and we've still got Flintlock and Gunner Creek in the pipeline. They're still going to be uploading every Saturday.
Are they?
God willing, they'll still be uploading every Saturday, or every, in rotating order.
Well, it's only Friday in China still, so
I've still got time. So let's move on to our...
Mailbag!
She still sounds happy when she says that.
Yeah.
she's doing it for revenge.
Who knew she's scowling at every one of us right now?
Revenger, that was specifically for you, honey.
Oh!
Okay, and what's first up in the old bag of mail?
I'm going to take the first one here from Anders Pekor on Hypercast 5. He says, for the next vlog, can you have a video of you guys talking instead of your channel logo? Also, glad to hear Melanosome Force coming along. I've been waiting forever. I wanted to answer that, at least the first part of that. I didn't really understand the second line there. Does anyone else know what Melanosome Force is?
We
No.
probably should look that up.
Like, I feel like that's just Metal Gear, right? Is that what he's talking about?
Maybe.
And maybe just like some...
Steve, do you know?
Not a clue.
Like, if he was doing it on a phone, then maybe the autocomplete said Melanosome Force instead of Metal Gear. That's all I can think of.
Okay.
But we can at least answer the first one. Yes, vlogs. We would love to do them. But what you guys don't realize is that we
We
cut...
are ugly, motherfuckers.
Yeah, we can't have Neil on camera for very long.
We are quite foul looking.
Bitch, we might be.
Yeah.
In addition to all of us except for Amber looking like troglodytes.
Aw, thanks.
As far as the vlog thing, we would love to do that. But we do have to edit so much of these Hypercasts. Like, you don't realize how much editing goes into it. So, unless we had multiple cameras that we could cut to from feeds, and even if we did have multiple cameras, we'd be cutting like every 3 seconds.
Right.
It'd be very difficult for us to do a vlog for how
So it
much
was just a
stuff we had to
big
cut out.
wide shot of us.
Right. It's just that we would have, we'd have to be really good. We couldn't make the normal screw-ups that I normally cut out.
And it would feel
So
very
maybe
impersonal.
next year that is something that we potentially can have on
Yeah,
the table. But this year we f up way too much.
I feel like we're getting close. Like, we've gotten a lot better with these since we started.
If you
Oh,
listen to
yeah.
the first one and then you listen to this one and skip
You-
all the crap in the
you'll
middle,
see.
you'll see the big difference.
Yeah, exactly. We're getting close to where we can do that, but we're not quite talented enough at podcasts to do a vlog. But we'll be moving towards that in the future.
And Revenger 210 for Flintlock 4. You quoted, nice, but a bit too short for an episode. Perhaps the Flintlocks should be uploaded in shorter time terms between each episode. We would love to upload things more frequently than what they're being uploaded for. However, that specific episode of Flintlock was a fluke. That was a short episode in and of itself. Most of the Flintlock episodes are full length. So trying to cram Flintlock into being uploaded more frequently, whereas we would love to do that anyway, they just aren't realistic right now with our personal timing schedules to be able to get that uploaded any more frequently.
Yeah, Amber, in addition to providing a lot of voices, actually helps us a lot with our scheduling, and she's already scouted out and mapped out all of the Flintlock episodes we're going to be doing. And she was saying that, like, some of the later ones get, like, really long,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Like, we're looking 10 minutes episodes
15
and a couple of
minutes.
them.
And we're always kind of, we got this tension between, like, having the episode long enough to be enjoyable, but also short enough to keep people's attention spans. Because, like I
Right.
said, we're working with that 420 mark, where over 4 minutes and 20 seconds we start to drop people.
Up next, the Pinner 1000, Hypercast 6, and I quote, "All right, now I'm commenting on this, quote, video. It sucks. Like, someone cares. You're not that famous and well known. In short, it sucks," end quote. Really, Pinner? This is something I don't understand about YouTube. What does insulting people through comments do for you?
I don't know. Like, I'm always
Does
up
it
for
really
feedback.
make you feel any better, though?
I like feedback. I like negative feedback. But I like feedback that tells us what we did wrong. Like,
Right, he's just saying it sucks.
Right.
Well,
Constructive criticism.
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
not constructive.
This is just criticism.
Exactly.
It
just wants to be
specifically says
mean,
right in here,
you know?
open quotes, video, close quotes. It's not a video. It's a hypercast. It's just audio. Of course, I imagine the video does suck. I imagine it's a solid black screen with our logo on it.
Yeah.
That's what they always look like when I watch them. And kind of, and by watch them, I mean play them in the background while I play WoW or something.
I mean, if you're going to say something negative on Facebook in a constructive way, at least explain yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
kinda like,
Tell me
these
how
are
my
the
video
worst
sucks,
glasses
but
ever.
tell me why it sucks. Say, you could stay on topic more, or you could cover more
Right.
topics, or you could talk about entertainment news. Give us some suggestions.
You know what the underlying quote here is?
Mm-hmm.
This video sucks because it's not Metal Gear.
Yeah, that's what he didn't say. But as a side note, something I really did enjoy from seeing that is he actually kind of got into it with Revenger 210.
I noticed.
And, like, I love the way Revenger handled it because,
Calm and
It's just
cool.
real
and-
cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Most kids are like, they get into, no, you are, like it's
Yeah.
stupid little insult war.
Yeah.
But Revenger's like, oh no, that's cool, man. Just tell me what you think about it, And then the guy's like, oh, I don't have time to talk about it. I'm on a PS3 controller. And Revenger's like, oh, it's cool. I got time. Like, this kid is awesome. I love
Yeah.
him. So,
Oh, super duper light hog. I might need some help here, Jack.
oh yeah, I guess you will be.
On the commenting on the Metal Gear Solid movie, he says, "Did YouTube comic dubbing,
From Shitty DeviantArt Comics.
Try Haim Daisy's Let's Destroy Metal Gear comics. Don't f with this studio."
Yeah, nanomachines, brother. That's actually a short parody from the latest Metal
Revengeance.
Gear. Yeah, Metal Gear Revengeance. And it was in reference to if we ever get to parodying Revengeance about how we would have to call it Let's F with this senator. I did notice there's a comment on Gun Creek Court 3 from I Pray the Game saying, did someone say alchemy? Humankind cannot gain anything without first giving something in return. To obtain something of equal value must be lost. That is alchemy's first law of equivalent exchange. That is a reference to Full Metal Alchemist, one of the few animes that I really do enjoy. I'm not like I don't dislike anime per se, but I'm just not a big fan, you know. And there's only a couple that I really like, but Full Metal Alchemist was one of them. So having somebody make that little reference based off alchemy and Gunner Creek Court was a little squee moment for me. I enjoyed that.
Awesome.
Let me hear that squee, Jack. Squeak, squeak, squeak.
And that was not actually a rubber duck. That was, in fact, Jack's vocal cords.
Yeah, I could do a lot better if I had just been doing Solid Snake. Or I mean, we're not doing Solid Snake because we're not doing Metal Gear Solid 4. We're not saying anything about that. No.
Ooh, Metal Gear Solid what?
Oh.
Quattro?
Oh.
What?
Did we say that?
All right, everyone. So thank you for the great comments and feedback. And as always, we're looking for more. So keep on commenting, and we'll keep on answering your mailbag. For right now, we're going to take these and stick them in our filing system.
Segment of our show today is we're going to go to our guest victim. Today we've got a voice actor, the Beard. As we said in the beginning of the show, you know he's done a lot of stuff in similar vein as what we've done with comic dubs and stuff, but most of them have been focused around Team Fortress 2 and SAXTON HAAALE. And I guess let's get him on the air.
Welcome to Broad Spectrum Studios Hypercast number 7.
Yeah, pleasure to have you on your show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So first of all, let's get this out of the way before we make fools of ourselves. What should we call you?
You can just call me Beard.
Okay, Beard.
Nice.
Yeah, I've actually been meaning to ask how you got that moniker. Like, how did you come up with that as the beard?
Well, that started way back in high school because I had like a full beard by the time I was a sophomore. I've always been hairy. All sorts of things going on right now. Because I work in service industry, I can't have a full beard, so I've got a handlebar mustache right now.
Ah, I see. All right, so let's start by talking about what it is that you do. Do you just do voice acting, or are you involved with like other creative kind of stuff as well?
That's just voice acting mainly. I just finished going to Michigan State University for a degree in theater,
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
but haven't done anything yet because I'm still technically finishing the degree. I've got one last thing I'm finishing up.
Well, early congratulations on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes. So, you said that was theater. Like, do you enjoy particularly like voice acting or stage acting more, or do you like them both equally, or?
Well, I enjoy stage acting, but what I really want to do is be a voice actor. So that's why I made my YouTube channel, because I wanted to do at least something by myself.
Absolutely, you've definitely been very productive in that. You upload way more videos than we have.
Oh, yeah.
And specifically with regards to that, I understand that SAXTON HAAALE is pretty much all of your fans' favorite character that you play. You seem to have nailed his voice very well.
Excellent. He was about as gung-ho as I could get it.
How did you get into SAXTON HAAALE?
That's tough to say. I've always been the guy that's noticed voices whenever I watch anything. So, like, I'm watching a cartoon and with my brothers and my sister, and I was like, "Oh, hey, that's Jim Cummings. Can't you hear it?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure, why not?"
Yeah, hey, it's that voice.
Like, no, that's the guy that does Winnie the Pooh. Oh, him, yeah. So I can always pick out voices. I have a good ear for it, and I've always been fascinated with voicing things. It's just always been there for me.
I gotcha. As far as SAXTON HAAALE goes, I mean, would you like following Team Fortress online, or
I'm a big fan of the game.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun.
Excellent. That actually takes an extra dimension of personal input too, because a lot of the comics that we've voiced and such, usually we're working with characters that have already been voiced in either a video game or a movie or whatever. So we kind of just have to emulate that. We have to make a voice that sounds like the real voice sounds. But when you're working straight from a comic medium, you have a lot more creative liberty, I guess, with regards to coming up with the voice and trying to figure out what voice sounds right for what you see on the page.
Definitely. I'm not too bad when it comes to imitating the actual mercenaries' voices, so it's fun either way.
I noticed that. I was watching the Halloween special one, and that one pretty much used pretty much all of the mercs. It had Soldier, the Heavy, the Demo Man. And all of them sounded really very similar to what you heard from the teaser trailers from Valve, you know?
That's what I like to hear.
And actually, it was another coincidence, too, because as we were paging through some of the work that you've done, we saw that you also did a one-shot comic of Flintlock's Guide to Azeroth.
Yeah, I was planning on doing more, but I'm not sure if it was just YouTube new layout messing it up, but not a lot of my viewers even took a look at it, so I decided to move on.
Oh,
It's always been one of my favorite webcomics, though.
That's really funny because we just started dubbing it ourselves, and like we didn't realize that we were both doing the same thing here.
Actually, when I took a look at your channel for the first time, first thing I saw there was one of the Flintlock comics. I'm like, oh, wow, what are the odds?
Right? We heard about you from one of our fans, and he's like, oh, there's this other guy that does comic dubs too, and he'd be great. You guys should get together with him and see about collaborating on something. And I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And it seems like we have a lot of similar interests. So now, bringing it back to a little bit more of the career-wise discussion, when did you know that you wanted to get into voice acting in particular? I know you've always been the guy that picks out voices, but like, when did you decide, okay, I'm going to do this full-time, you know?
Let's see. I got into theater when I was a freshman in high school, and by the time I was about a sophomore or junior, I knew I was going to be a theater guy for the rest of my life.
Really?
Yeah, it's just something that I enjoy no matter where it goes. But as far as voice acting goes, I don't know what made me decide, but I just guess kind of drifted over to that part because it's the part I find the most enjoyable about acting. It's the characterization.
That's very true because of how expressive you have to be. When you're communicating only through your voice, you don't have the luxury of using facial expressions and body language, so you have to really be super expressive in how you read things. It's pretty fun.
Exactly.
Who are some of your biggest influences in voice acting or just acting in general?
Let's see here. Two of the big names, I already mentioned one of them, are Jim Cummings and Frank Welker. They're two big voice actors.
Megatron.
And you probably may not know what they do by their names, but that's because they're so versatile. They can do all these different voices and you'll almost never know they're there.
That's very true. I've seen them pop in a lot of things. Personally, a lot of us are Transformers fans, so we automatically hear Frank Welker and we go to Megatron. But
Right.
yeah, I know he's done far more than that. And Jim Cummings is remarkably versatile. Like, I mean, he's in pretty much any cartoon or movie that's come out in the past 15 or 20 years. It's pretty crazy.
No kidding. Billy West, everybody loves him. He's great in Futurama and Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah. Now, what are some of your biggest pet peeves as an actor? For me, it's when my fellow podcasters show up and they don't ask any questions, and I just end up talking the whole interview. But what are some of your pet peeves, like when it comes to the voice acting community or any stage acting that you've done?
It's cool, blame the guy who stutters.
Well, let's see here. I get a lot of slack because I'm a pretty easygoing guy, but I guess overacting is the one thing that really annoys me. It's like when they're doing their piece, you can tell that they're acting. Like they're telling you, I'm acting as they're doing it. That's what gets my goat.
I totally understand that. Usually it's hard to find that right happy medium in between, because you always find somebody that's like way over the top and just, totally Brian Hamming it, and then somebody that's just, oh no, my rubber band car, they just got no emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always tough finding a balance, but that's why they're actors, and that's why there are other people who are in movies.
Well said.
Yes.
Oh, man.
It is tough because I know I've seen movies that use big names, like people who are big in the Hollywood industry, but just because you're a good actor doesn't mean you're a good voice actor. It's a very specific thing you have to learn.
That's very true. Do you think that, the genre really influences a lot of that? I can't remember what film it was. I really need to do more research beforehand. But I remember that Robert De Niro played a role in an animated film recently. And it was a lighthearted kind of film. And I didn't feel like, even though obviously Robert De Niro is a fantastic actor, I didn't feel he matched the lighthearted tone of the film. You know how actors tend to get typecast. So do you think that with voice acting in particular, is it easier to go cross genres, or do people still fall into certain roles and stick with that?
Well, I think it's definitely easier to go cross-genre. It just depends what's being made. Like, most animation out there is mostly geared towards kids, but you get the adult cartoons like Venture Brothers. That's a huge favorite of mine.
Oh, yes.
And then that's when it gives you more room to kind of explore.
Yeah, that's very true. And actually, that is one of the cool things about trying to get into voice acting in the modern community is... like you said, obviously there's a lot of cartoons and animation aimed towards children, but it's really opening up a lot more to mature audiences, a lot more than it was, obviously during the first half of the 20th century when cartoons were just for kids,
Right.
So with that being said, when we're talking about genres, do you have a particular genre that you really like doing? I noticed that all the stuff on your channel is comedy, but that's just because YouTube loves comedy. It seems to be what YouTube is there for.
A little bit. I'm also a huge comedy fan. I don't mind doing some of the more dramatic moments, like with a few things in Romantically Apocalyptic. I've had fun with those.
Those were some fun comics. I didn't have a chance to watch all of them, but Josh and I were actually paging through them.
I definitely prefer comedy because, at least in my opinion, if you go out in the world, you're always going to be able to find tragedy, but you have to actually look for comedy.
Yeah, it's a very astute observation.
Yeah, very well said. Also, for us, we tend to gravitate towards comedy too a lot because we don't have the best range on our actors, and especially for you because you're a one-man operation. Usually, if you have to play all the characters in a comic, it's super difficult to make yourself sound like different characters. And if you're trying to do something that's serious, it's very obvious that it's all one person. But if it's one person doing a comedy role, usually it's made funnier by the fact they're doing all the voices.
Definitely. There's always more variation in comedy, it seems. Well, all the variety acts like Robin Williams, it's always huge barrage of comedy. If he did a bunch of serious ones, you can tell it's Robin Williams.
Right. It's very true. Mm-hmm. And speaking of playing multiple different characters, usually the comics that you do have a lot, like, upwards of 5, 6, 7, 8 people, and usually our actors can only do, at max, 2 or 3 characters, and that's our limit. Are there any specific tricks that you use for making yourself sound different from character to character?
Let me think. Most of the time I just kind of practice until I get close to it. So just talk to yourself a lot. I know it sounds weird, but it works.
On average, how long do you think you spend practicing per week?
I know when I got like the concept in my head of what I'm going to do, then I kind of talk to myself while I'm on a slow shift or just kind of sitting by myself. So I'd say I only practice an hour or 2 per week, depending on how often I record even. But usually once I sit down and start recording, that's when I just kind of do it all at once, because then the creative energy starts flowing and it gets a lot easier as you go.
Right. What tips would you give somebody trying to break into the voice acting industry, or just trying to get started, or anything of that nature? What words of wisdom do you have, so to speak?
That's a good question, because I'm still trying to figure out how to break into it myself. But all I can really recommend is just show how much variation you can do. That's the more you can do, the more different kinds of things you can do, the better chance you're going to have that people are going to get interested.
When you're talking about variation and you're in the voice acting and stuff like that, do you find that you just have a lot of variation naturally, or do you really have to work at it?
I've got a little bit of variation naturally. I do love impersonations and imitating things, but a lot of it is just sometimes I'll say something weird or like say something in a weird way, and I'll just kind of build a random persona on that just out of boredom.
Nice. That's where all good things come from, out of boredom. Now, you say impersonation specifically. Do you have a particular impersonation you're very fond of?
Yeah, it's actually a couple of them. I was a big fan of like the old Disney Alice in Wonderland, and for the Mad Tea Party, I loved both Ed Wynn, who was the Mad Hatter, and Jerry Colonna, who was the March Hare.
Yes.
Would you like a little sample?
Absolutely.
I would love that. I'm on tenterhooks.
Yeah.
Oh, hello, Alice. Would you like a little more tea?
Wow.
That is stunning.
awesome.
Just that explosion of emotion right there.
That's incredible.
Yes. I think we're about to get sued by Disney for a copyright violation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get thrown in the vault with Bambi.
Seconds and they hit you. But the March Hare is one that's done a little less because people don't really know much about Jerry Colonna. Mm-hmm. But I've actually been a big fan of him just because it's so bizarre, both in the way he looks and the way he talks. So it's like, yes, the tea. Have a cup of tea, my dear.
He even rolls his R's. Look at that.
It's a lot of fun. And a lot of people have rediscovered Ed Wynn since they kind of base King Candy from Wreck-It Ralph on him.
They did, didn't I? Didn't even realize that, actually.
So as much as have some tea, you can have some candy.
Right.
Are you one of those people that I'm going to sit through a movie with and you're going to act out every scene while I'm sitting there next to you?
Is that what your wife does?
That's exactly what my wife does.
Oh, I'm not that terrible. With the exception of Princess Bride, because it's kind of hard to get to that without quoting everything.
Oh, well, there we go. That's my
How
wife's
ironic.
favorite movie.
Yeah, that is literally Amber's favorite movie.
Is that your
Just
favorite
say,
movie?
Favorite movie?
Yeah.
That's a hard one. I can't really name one single favorite movie just because there's so many different things that I like. I guess it really depends on the genre. Like favorite action movie, then it would go into like the Lord of the Rings territory.
Okay.
But with like favorite animated movie, then we'd go with like stuff like Beauty and the Beast. Mm-hmm. It's all over the place.
Strong answers. Strong.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Terry Gilliam's stuff, the Monty Python director. stuff with like Baron Munchausen, Brazil.
You know, I really love Baron Munchausen, but that's about all that I've been able to get into from him, and I don't know why. But I particularly love that one, but everything else just kind of, it didn't do anything for me, unfortunately.
Right. It's definitely an odd kind of humor you have to get into. It takes a while to get used to.
Right. You mentioned Beauty and the Beast, and I meant to ask this earlier. Since you do a lot of work with voice, have you done anything with musicals? Do you do any kind of singing?
I'm an okay singer. I wouldn't say I'm Broadway material by far, but I'm a pretty good singer, I'd say. I've done a little bit of musical work over the course of my career. I think the last thing I did was Wizard of Oz while I was at Michigan State. Now,
we are coming down to the end here, and we have a question that everybody's dying to know right now, especially any of your fans. You nose the beard because of your fabulous facial hair, but is there any hair on your body that is shaped like Australia?
At the moment, no, but I'm sure if I got an electric razor, I could work something out.
Yes, I'm sure all of your fans are waiting to hear that. All right, well, thank you very much, Beard, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks a lot for having me.
It's hard for me to speak sometimes. Words get in the way of what's on my mind. Listen close and you may hear it said from the voices inside my head. I won't take back anything for loving you. I won't give in like I knew you want me to. I won't apologize for all I did, 'cause I didn't light the fire on the bridge. It's hard for you to see sometimes, with the roots buried in your mind. You fell deep from inside, and now I see the reasons you can't hide. I won't take back anything for loving you. I won't give in like I knew you want me to. I won't apologize for all I did, 'cause I didn't light the fire on the bridge. You made your bed, now you've got to lie to get yourself out of something you want to try this time. Back anything for loving you. I won't give in like I knew you want me to. And I'll apologize for all I did, 'cause I didn't stop the fire on the bridge.
Back in the studio. Sorry, I just missed that interview.
Her audio glitched out.
Yeah, she was glitching.
My audio was glitching. I'm sorry, guys.
She had to go to the honey wagon.
Anyway, no, I actually had to run out and get sustenance for these guys, so I missed our interview. But, in other words, I wanted to say thank you for such an awesome interview. And let's move on to our advice column. We're going to start off with, let's not burn any bridges. Jack, can you tell us some more about not burning bridges?
I don't know. I feel like Neil's the expert on that.
How right you are, my friend.
It's funny because you may not know this yet, but Neil does have a song called Burning Bridges.
Yes, it will be on Open Your Eyes.
Yeah, Amber's got it. Piece of general advice this week for everybody is not burning bridges. You want to build rapport with anyone you can work with and try to groom those relationships. So,
Unless they're assholes. And you can just chop them down.
Josh, you want to help
Douse
us?
it in gasoline and light your charges.
Josh, you want to help us out here?
Wow, okay. No, I mean, in any field, you're going to end up working with people that you don't gel well with. Just try to make the best of it and leave on a good note. You know,
Yes,
there's nothing saying you have to work with someone again that you didn't work well with before, but you don't want to leave on a bad note because they know people that you may want to work with, and if you burn that bridge, they may burn some other ones for you,
Right.
before you even get there. This is such a difficult industry to get into. We talked about collaboration last week. Don't collaborate with somebody and then throw them under the bus. You know, we're all in this industry together to work with one another to help each other and lift each other up. You know, at least here at Broad Spectrum Studios, our goal or our mantra is entertainment for entertainers and enriching lives through entertainment.
Whoa, is that like our our vision?
It was.
Our business state? Whoa, we actually have one now?
I guess so.
We have
Bitch,
a
we
mission-
might.
We have a mission statement?
But so we wanted to enrich people's lives through entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
So where we have all of these things that we do that people see from the outside, we need help from the inside too. And this isn't just Broad Spectrum Studios. This is the entire entertainment industry as a whole. That make these relationships, cultivate these relationships, and build each other up. Don't tear each other down.
You gotta work together. Even if you don't like somebody, you still gotta work together with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what making great things is about. You can have, well, honestly, take love interests. On TV, they look like they are absolutely perfect together. They are the best chemistry makeup. And then they never even socialize outside of that filming industry.
Look at Amber and Neil. Almost every character
good
they
Lord.
play has some romantic interest.
And they could be further apart personality-wise.
Yeah,
Very true.
Wow. But yeah, so there's perfect example that, but then again, they don't see us, they hear us. But I'm talking like actual visual things. There can be an on-screen chemistry, and you may not get along with the person at all and never socialize with them, but you still work with them and you work well with them because that's what signs a paycheck. That's what creates great entertainment, and that's what's going to keep you working in the industry that you want to work in.
Absolutely. There's a lot to be said for non-aggressiveness, kind of like going to a Bruce Lee quote here about how you want to be like water, and let your enemy flow through you, You don't want to be the one that's constantly getting in everyone else's business. If someone comes to you and says, hey, look, you're doing a crappy job, here's how you could do it better, blah, 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 just take it, even if they don't know what they're talking about. You can say, okay, you can listen to that feedback. There's nothing that says that you have to lash back out at them. If somebody, screws you over here, then you're in control of your own actions. You don't have to try to get back at them. You don't want to try to get even with them. That's not what it's about. If somebody drops the ball on you, then just wipe off your feet and move on,
Exactly. I mean, if you're doing the right thing, if you're minding your own business and taking care of yourself, the way in a professional manner, somebody's going to screw you over. Someone down the road is going to make their life hard. They're making their own life harder. You don't jump in their boat. Just step back, go the other way.
Patrick Stewart, he was he was speaking somewhere, and he used it in a different context, but and this isn't verbatim, but he said something to the effect of violence isn't an answer you should ever use.
Absolutely. I think that applies in personal relationships too, not just like physical violence, but like, you know, when you feel yourself, if someone ticks you off and you're getting angry to the point where you're about to lash out at them, there's never a good place to do that, really, you know?
Yeah.
Christian Bale taught us all that, right?
Please don't burn my bridges before I get to him, Jack.
I mean,
He showed up after the Batman shooting at that hospital. That everybody has issues, but that was a really big statement of his character.
I agree. I think that shows he has good character. I think that shows that, you know, his little meltdown was not a good example of who he is. I think he is genuinely a good, decent man, but he let his emotions get the better of him. And so I want to use that as an example to all you guys. Don't let your emotions get the better of you if you're in a position where you're working with somebody on voice acting or doing artwork with somebody or doing a video for somebody. Don't get so heated up in the moment that it makes you do something you're going to be ashamed of later, you know?
Yeah. Because that is, I mean, you hear about Christian Bale and you immediately go to him yelling at some guy. You don't think about the fact that after that shooting, he was the one at the hospital visiting people. Nobody hears about that because when you think of him, you think of the bad that he did. And that will go so much further in burning bridges than doing one thing good.
Very well said, Amber. That's a good point about when you're working with personal relationships and other people, like, one, you little piece of shit, will wipe out 1,000 attaboys. Like, you can be really nice and kind to somebody, but if you blow up at them or if you really piss them off in some way, that's what they'll remember you for.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be real careful when you're building those relationships. Just understand that you're working for the future here. You're working. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You know.
Right.
Hey, if you treat somebody like an asshole right now, you may get ahead for right now, but that's going to kill all of your contacts in the future. You're not going to be able to go anywhere from here. You know?
It's like somebody standing on a chair and them trying to pull you up. It's harder for them to pull you up than it is for the person on the ground to pull the person standing in the chair off the chair.
Right. So.
Good analogy.
There you have it, guys. That's our general advice is don't burn bridges. Try to cultivate your personal rapport with every single person you meet. You know, try to, you know, be as amicable with them as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
That old saying about if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all, works perfectly.
Yeah.
Indeed it does.
Okay, stop playing. Stop.
But you didn't light the fire on the bridge. So, moving on to our movie jargon for the week, we're going to discuss what a best boy is.
What is a best boy, Jack?
Well, did you know there's actually 2 different kinds of best boys?
I did not know that. Wow.
This doesn't sound forced at all.
You got your best boy. You got your best boy electric, and you got your best boy grip.
Oh, so that feeds back into when we were talking about gaffers and grips before.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are they just like the best gaffers and grips?
They are.
Unfortunately, they have one of those, unsung hero kind of jobs in film industry. They get to do a lot of the not fun, bureaucratic kind of stuff. Like,
Yeah, they're kind of the foreman over that department. They work directly under the gaffer and the grip, and they're in charge of scheduling and picking up tools and hiring and all
tracking
that fun
equipment.
stuff.
Yeah, it's
Well, it's not
a
fun for
job.
me. Somebody likes it because they do it. You know,
Right. I understand that.
it's all the stuff Jack likes doing in our crew.
Yeah, that's what I love about Broad Spectrum. That's why I came back, because I love scheduling people and keeping things on time.
Daily operations.
Yeah. It's that is one of those jobs that, like you said before, with the key grip, you can kind of not necessarily nix it for a small indie production, but you can have multiple people play multiple roles.
Yeah.
And it's another one of those jobs that it's just got to be done. You know, it's not fun, but it's important. People have to be scheduled. You have to keep track of your equipment. You don't want to show up on shoot day and be like, okay, who's got the camera, who's got lights, who's got,
Right.
So you do need to have somebody, even if that's not all they do, that somebody does need to keep track of equipment, keep track of personnel, schedule people, handle all basically the bureaucratic workings of the film behind the scenes. All right, and seeing as that's our best boy, it's actually a very short description. That's an easy one to describe because we described gaffers and keepers
because
before.
we've already covered everything that they do, really, and they're like the secretary to the gaffer.
Exactly. So if you're curious about what a gaffer or key grip is, I invite you to review our last 2 podcasts. All right, and finally, for our dimension-specific advice, it's finally my turn to do this. And my specific advice for anyone that does video or graphics is to pace yourself. This is an incredibly important skill that you're absolutely going to need to learn if you're ever going to have a long career in a visual industry. Because, number one, almost always you're going to be working on a deadline. Whether you're doing graphic design, web design, or video design, somebody's going to give you a deadline and you need to be able to meet it. In order for you to be able to meet it, you need to first of all gauge your speed. What speed can you comfortably work at, okay? So I know that I can edit 10 minutes of video with simple animation with no special effects within 12 hours. So that's just going to come from practice. The more you do, the more you'll be able to get a better idea of how long something takes you.
Right.
And it's very important early on in a job that you quote people honestly on what you can do. Because it's easy to get wrapped up in the moment and just say, oh, yeah, I can build you a website, shoot a video, edit a video, design you a logo, all this stuff in 3 weeks. And then when you actually get behind the trigger and you have to do it, you realize you can't, and you don't want to let somebody down. Josh, you're a samurai. I was reading your Code of the Samurai book where something about, like, don't make promises because, if you fall through on them, then you're going to lose your honor. Instead, just, like, promise very little but always deliver on it.
Pretty much, yeah. That's kind of what it is. It's been a while. I'm behind on my reading.
I got you.
I like to read that at least once a year.
Yeah, that's really the principle here. Is you want to underpromise and overdeliver. So, first of all, you need to find out what you can comfortably work at, what speed you can comfortably get things done. You need to be honest with people about how quickly you can get things done, and you need to really be mindful of burnout. This is a technical thing and a mental thing. Just looking at a screen, your eyes will get tired. You will get headaches. You can't do these massive 14-hour powerhouse editing sessions. It's just not good for you. It's a little bit unfeasible to think that you can take a break every hour, which is what most people advise when you're working with computer screens, but breaks are important. So set yourself a timer, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. Take a break, get up, stretch your legs, shut your eyes. These are your eyes are your number one tool, so you want to make sure you take good care of them.
Sounds almost like that feeds a little bit back into last week's. Your eyes are important. You should protect them, especially if you're in this visual field. Obviously take breaks, but there are also, look into safety equipment. Yes, you don't think safety when you're working with a computer, but there are polarized lenses and filters you can put on to diminish the amount of the light coming into your eye at one time. You can adjust the contrast on your computer down if you're working for longer periods of time.
Absolutely.
Or the brightness. Just turn the brightness down a couple notches, and it'll make a huge difference.
It does. The less light you have constantly blaring into your eyes, the better. Also, even though it sometimes seems more comfortable to work in darkness, it's not a good idea. You want to have some source of light in the room. You want to ideally be editing in a well-lit room. It doesn't have to be super bright in there. You can have some nice dim light, but you don't want the computer screen to be your only source of light. It will mess up the way your eyes work. So pace yourself while you're working. Make sure you take breaks. Make sure you don't hit that burnout level, where you just like, when I look at a screen, my eyes just liquefy, And like I said, it's a mental thing too. If you spend too long working on a project without taking a break, then your sense of aesthetic judgment starts to deteriorate. Because I've done that before. Well, I'll spend freaking 16 hours working on a logo design, and I'm like, oh man, this is the best thing ever. And then I'll get up the next day and look at it. I'm like, what the hell was I thinking?
I'm the same way with audio.
Oh, are you really?
Oh,
because you hit this wall where it's just that's your fatigue, and you overdid it. You pushed yourself too far, and now everything looks good to you. It's like, polka dots everywhere, polka dots, woo!
It's funny because the same thing kind of happens for me, but it goes the opposite direction.
Really?
Like, I'll work on something, and if I'm working on a frame for something, I'll be building something. And I'll step back and I'm like, man, that is crooked as crap, you know. And I'll go up there and I'll slap my levels on it, and I slap my squares on it. Everything looks, you know, it's square, it's level. And I step back and I was like, that is not level, it's crooked. Somebody else look at this thing, you know. Doesn't it look like it's leaning to the left? Oh God, you know. I gotta walk away. Does this look crooked to you?
Slap my level on the floor and it's off. This whole place is leaning.
There you have it. That's my dimension-specific advice for anybody that's involved with a screen-related field, whether that's graphics, web design, or video design. Make sure that you're, number one, aware of your own speed, work at your own speed, be mindful of the time you're spending, and take lots of breaks. So, in summary, just pace yourself. It's very, very important you learn that skill.
Well said.
All right, everyone, so thank you for joining us on this episode of the Hypercast.
Next week on our Hypercast number 8, we will have Karen Molina. She is a very good friend of ours and an author. So be sure to check her out on the next Hypercast.
You guys have 3 weeks-ish before our next one, so if you'd like, we can put a link to her book.
Her new book.
Yes. What is it, Neil?
Shadow of My Father's Secret. It's on Amazon.com right now.
Yep.
We'll put a link in the description.
And you can get it in an ebook, so you can download it and read it today. And if you'd like, you know, go ahead and download that and read that, so you already are a step ahead when we have her on our.
And if you have any
as a special
questions
guest.
that you would like to ask her about her book, leave a comment. And we'll see what we can do about forwarding those along.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in this week.
Good morning, good evening, and bye.
Thanks for listening. This guy's a dick anyway. Don't.
He says, "Don't burn bridges, guys. What the hell?"
Edit that out.
I don't think we talked about the rules of this Hypercast before we pressed record.